Brandon Brands.
Hey guys, this is XayLi Barclay of XayLiBarclay.com. I'm the founder of the Start, Shoot, Grow Video Academy. And if you want to build a brand that matters, you should be listening to Brands on Brands on Brands with my good friend, Brandon Birkmeyer.
In a world where advertising is ignored, business is exposed, and the only constant is change, how do you build a brand that matters? Welcome to Brands on Brands on Brands, a home for those who think different and push their boundaries. This is where branding that matters lives. Now, here's your host, Brandon Birkmeyer.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Brands on Brands on Brands. I'm Brandon Birkmeyer, your personal marketing coach, and I believe that building a brand that matters is the only way for your business to thrive tomorrow. I appreciate you guys tuning in each week as we bring to you thought leaders in marketing and in entrepreneurship, talking about how to build brands, how to execute those marketing tactics and strategies. And today's no different. On Mondays, we talk to the thought leaders, and on Thursdays, we come to you with some deep dive into strategy from me. But today's an interview day, which I know a lot of you look forward to. And my guest this week is XayLi Barclay. If you haven't heard of XayLi Barclay, that's XayLi, it's XayLi. Check her out, XayLiBarclay.com. She's a visual content creation coach. What's that mean? That means she creates a lot of videos on YouTube and she teaches people how to do it. And also, if you have already gone down that path, you're like, I'm already creating videos. I'm already creating content. Well, have you figured out how to create courses yet? If not, this is the episode to listen to. Check out my conversation with XayLi as we get into what it takes to make a video from top to bottom, how you start and how do you finish, and the things you need to be thinking about, like clarity of your purpose and mindset and all that, and all the steps that get you from start to finish, and how to make a genuine impact in the digital space. Now, not only is this conversation have been interesting from that perspective, but it also was fun. We jump into a little bit of how you develop a personal brand and our thoughts on that and the value of that. And another thing is our fun conversations led to me understanding that she has a new product coming out. If you guys haven't checked out her website, you can also go to startshootgrow.com. It is something we talk about in the conversation that you'll hear in a minute. But I wanted to point it out because she is launching a new program in January on that site. I want you to check that out. That should be around when this is launched in terms of the podcast. If it's not up when this goes live, make sure to go to the site anyway, startshootgrow.com, to register to be on the wait list, to make sure you get a spot, because she does have people who are waiting to get into her classes. So if you have any interest in creating courses, in being stronger with your video creation, this is the episode to listen to, and startshootgrow.com is the place to get those extra lessons you might need to just get it done today instead of taking 6 more months doing it on your own without the coaching you might need. So I hope you guys enjoy the call. I had a great time chatting with XayLi, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Thanks for tuning in each week. And don't forget to go to brandonbrands.com to make sure you are seeing all the new things that are happening. Join the subscription list for the email newsletter, or go straight to your podcast provider and make sure you hit that subscribe button so we know that you are getting new episodes every week. All right. Thanks, you guys. Check it out. Enjoy.
Brandon Brand.
All right, let's get going. Today, I want to welcome our new friend to the podcast family here on Brands on Brands on Brands, XayLi Barclay. XayLi, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here first and foremost.
Thank you, Brandon, for having me. I admire what you do so much.
Likewise, I feel like there's a mutual admiration there. You know, I feel like there's something like, since I'm lead with podcasting, a lot of times podcasters are jealous of video creators, but I don't think video creators are ever jealous of podcasters. But
sometimes, because I feel like it's like everyone is saying podcasting now. So it's like,
you're like, I can repurpose my things to that.
Oh, yeah,
There's always that whole thing. How can I push my thing there?
Exactly.
But when I am, we have a lot of mutual friends in common in the creator space and in the marketing space. And it got me excited to talk to you about the power of video content, because I'll be honest, I don't think I've had a lot of people that have focused specifically on that in that space. I've had like live streaming video creators.
Yeah.
But not like, I haven't had Sean Cannell on the show yet.
Yet. He's coming.
I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yes.
But, some people that are like actively talking about video creation and how to use it. So I'm excited to get you on the show and to get some of that out there for the listeners today. But before anything else, I'd love to hear a little bit about when you started posting video on social media. Like, take me back to the beginning a little bit about, like, was it something that was just you, like a video of you and your family at Thanksgiving, or like when you actually started creating for like business purposes?
So video really happened by mistake for me. I knew that I wanted to do video, definitely. And so back in 2009, I had locks. And so I used to wear my hair in that specific way. And I wanted to start sharing, tips on locks and how to take care of them and how to grow your hair. And I uploaded my first video. I was in my bathroom and I looked at it and I was like, oh no, girl, this has to go. And I deleted it. And I started again in 2015. And I committed and I started sharing my lock journey and I started sharing makeup and body positivity and, just awesome stuff. But what I realized was if I was creating, I was already niched. So that was really everything happened by mistake. And I realized that I was able to grow faster because I was in a niche and people were looking for solutions. And so all of my social media platforms were growing like crazy. It was easy for me to grow because I was being that solution to that specific audience's problems.
Well, and if they don't get to see you on this, right? And what they're missing, what the audience is missing here is like style is just screaming out, jumping off the camera. And I'm sure you can probably hear style coming off the voice too, to the podcasters out there. But yeah, like, like she's got like fly hair, like kick-ass background, like sweet clothes on, like everything's rocking, right? And so you're talking like, you started talking about hairstyles and different ways to manage hair and beauty and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that started you saw some uptick in that?
Yeah, I just started growing like crazy. People started sharing my content a lot. I would have like a community in the comments and I'm like, there's something bigger to this. And so what happened was people loved the quality of my content and they loved the way that I broke things down. So I started getting questions about video and how do you do this? And so I was like, I can show you. so I started creating courses based on video content. And I realized that if this worked for my niche, then it can work for other people. So in 2015, I started actually teaching video, all about video content. And so I feel like it's so popular now, but I've been there for the journey of it all. And so that's really how I got started in the business.
You started to take it seriously. You're like, oh, this could be something. Mm-hmm. Did you try to build a business in that beauty space, like as a creator, or is it like, no, I think I need to just be teaching this because that's where my questions are coming from?
Yeah, I think what really happened was the courses and that side of things really just superseded the beauty. And then I realized as well, the income there was much more stable because it was up to me. So with YouTube, you can make money through Google AdSense and that waivers. And you can also make money with brands, but I just didn't want to leave my baseline in the hands of somebody else.
Yeah, I get that. I do want to hear about creating courses, but I want to take a step back let's talk about video in general. Mm-hmm. First, I think it's really intimidating for a lot of people out there to not the getting on camera thing. I think people that's on them to get past and just to try and start. And I think that's even the name of your class is start is the first word in it. Start, shoot, grow. Yeah. But I think beyond that, I want to talk about the value. Why should they put that work in? What's the value of creating video content? What has been for you? What do you teach other people is the value in doing it to begin with?
I mean, for me, the return is just it's insane. You get on camera, and if you have a business and you're using video in your business, you create trust so much faster than the person who is probably just writing blurbs online or probably, uploading pictures. The conversion is absolutely insane. We all know how powerful webinars and things like that are. So if you're thinking about for your business, it helps build the trust factor in way less time. And you get a much more committed audience who is really connected to you. And so I experienced that in the beauty part of things. And when I brought it over into my business, I realized that it was even better. People just latched on to every word that you said. And I love that it's basically on autopilot. Like people are finding you all the time. So it's like such an influx of interest, which turns into business.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, are there certain types of things that you teach that like, I'm curious, like what's your big, like the things that you're like, oh my God, this kind of took off. Like this is, what was that? Like, that first video that you're like, oh, this is kind of picking up here. Was it anything specific?
Well, for me, especially now in business, people are always interested in my visual content. Like, how do you do this or how do you do that? So for me, providing solutions like, how to repurpose your content or how to create something on specific, like I like to think niche. So I think, let me do a series on a specific app, or let me do a series based on a specific process or a system. And so you're also able to make affiliate income from videos as well. So, there's so many ways that you can make income from using video from one video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, definitely sharing or being that solution. Example, today we got the whole announcement about no more likes on Instagram, right? So we knew it was coming. What if you had created a video, last week about it? And so you uploaded it today because everyone's going to be searching for it. It's trending. People are talking about it. And that's a way for you to position yourself as a solution. Let's say you're a social media manager or something, like people are going to find you. And we all know that YouTube is owned by Google. So video results show up. So, just thinking about it in that way. And also with video, your personality is there. So people get to figure out, I can watch this person for days. Or they can, just decide, this person is not for me, which I prefer.
Yeah. And I'm going to keep myself from starting the podcast, the audio versus video debate, because this is like, I think we share value and we give back and forth. I know that people like to listen to me at the gym, and that's hard to do on video, but there's this place for all of this. There's places where I do want to see what you're doing. And like, if I'm trying to learn something, I might want to see the steps you're taking on the screen. And you get to demonstrate some of that stuff. And the search, like this, just the search to your point of it, like getting to type in how to do this, how to do that. And to get the lessons, I think is killer.
Definitely.
For sure. And have you been dabbling in the live space or pretty active in the live space as well?
Yeah, I use live more for nurturing my audience. So, I have a Facebook group. I'll go live in there, or, webinars or workshops. So that's how I use live video. I use it more for nurture. So I look at, pre-recorded video just as the traffic generator, basically. And as they come down, they get to really see me and talk to me. And I feel like just having the different aspects of video is really important as well.
I think that's a great way to put it, because I work with a lot of people who are trying to figure out how, because there's so many channels, like how to use them all. And, they're like, should I be on Instagram or wherever it is? And I describe it the same way. I haven't used the word nurture. I think I might have to start using that. I always say discovery. Like there's a lot of discovery generated on channels like an Instagram or on a live. And my goal is to take, to use those as discovery or as nurture the way you put it, to then bring them into my longer form content, which might be a YouTube video or a podcast episode or a blog article. And then from there, possibly to my website for whatever, extra. So I love the way you talk about it as nurture and then bringing it in for sure.
Yes.
I'd love to hear about some of the projects you're working on right now. Because I do want to, later I'm going to ask you to maybe take me through, and I'll put you on the spot, and to take me through like a lesson, like something maybe you've talked through that you can give us as like a little tidbit, like a 3 or 4 or 5 step thing that, something that we could, that's like actionable value. But tell me a little bit about what you're working on right now that's taking your effort, that's fun for you.
So right now I'm actually working on the Start, Shoot, Grow School, which is one side of things where I teach course creators how to create just a more engaged experience for their students using amazing visuals and video content so that, they create what I call a craveable experience for their students. So they're moving through that content, excited to go through it, engaged, and so that their completion rates are higher, right? And so I'm excited about that, because people are loving it.
Yeah. So that's Start, Shoot, Grow, right? Start, Shoot, Grow are the 3 big pieces of that. And that's startshootgrow.com, right?
Yes. That's actually one side of it. But in January or early 2020, I'm launching the video aspect of it, the Video Academy for the people who are really looking to use video, to sell their products and services and in their marketing and things like that. So it's all startshootgrow.com.
Okay, so they can all find it there.
Yes.
And what got you starting on wanting to do that? Like when you're like, I need a course to build this. Were you hearing that? Were people asking the same questions over and over? Like, what was the motivation? Like, this is why I have to do this.
Yes, people were asking over and over again. People kept coming to my website and kept seeing me, and they were like, well, how are you doing this? And although I can give you answers, a course is basically a format or a process. It's organized. You have all the answers. You can go through it. So it's a different experience from me just sharing messy or random content online.
I get that. Yeah. Because sometimes you can go down a rabbit hole of like, oh, I want to learn that too. I want to learn that too. But it's not a structured learning experience.
Exactly.
And you can like organize those thoughts of how to take,
Yes.
like, there's a transformation in this if you go through the process.
Yes.
And you also have a course, because I think we talked about that actually being sold out, right? The Start Shoot Grow experience is sold out right now. And I don't want to get people pissed off because they can't go actually buy this thing from you. So in 2020, you can get on a wait list.
They have to get on the wait list. The wait list is open right now. And so, they'll learn about as soon as it opens. And there may be some great opportunities for the people that are on the wait list first. So yes.
Perfect. So get on that. Go to startshootgrow.com. Get on that wait list. You also have a course for beginners, right? For some people that are just like trying to get started, and that's called Confidence.
Yeah. So right now I have an amazing freebie where I give you an audio and a workbook, because I feel like it's much deeper than hit that button and go. There are things that we need to address and get over before we even think about recording. And even for me, I use that audio all the time, even though I do video consistently, because there are just things that come up that leave you a little bit insecure or nervous, especially when you're in your zone of genius and you're leveling up as wanting to be known as the expert or the go-to person. So it's for every level of that process.
Yeah. And no love lost to our friend who says, press the damn button. And that's his like call to action. But I do think you have to have there has to be some intention behind what you're trying to do.
Exactly. And I'll walk you through it in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's nice to know that when you're doing it for a purpose, and for me, it was like when I started just recording things, I didn't know what I was trying to do, but it did help me find my voice. And I think if I knew going in that I don't have to have a plan, but if I knew that, if they said, you don't have to have a plan, but the reason you don't need to have a plan is you are using content to help find your voice and perspective so that you can figure out, you'll start to see, you talk 10 times, you might start talking about the same theme over and over again. And now you're starting to become known for something.
Yes.
And then it goes. So
that's what I'm going to share with you. Yes. Confidence.com.
Check it out.
Free. Definitely check it out. I've gotten great reviews about it because I couldn't find that in the video space. So
yeah. So I know that you also are, you're doing a lot of education on course creation, but I want to put a pin in that and do a little bit of that in a few minutes for y'all that are interested in that kind of thing. But like to round it out in terms of video content creation to help the guys out here, what are a few of those like starting lessons that like they can say, like, here's a few things that you talk about, maybe a framework, a couple steps that would help them in their video journey that maybe helped you?
Well, it's funny that you use some of the words you used just now when we were speaking about confidence, because I actually break it down into 5 parts, right? So I feel like with confidence, you have to know your purpose first. Right. So when you reach deep down inside and you figure out, okay, this is what I want to share, then you figure out the people. So we start with purpose, then we move to people. Figure out, who are you going to talk to? Who are you? Most times what we want to share is something that we have gotten through or been through, or pain, or something that we have gotten to the other side. And now we want to reach back and help somebody else. And then after that, you figure out your plan. Right. So you mentioned 2 of those, or something like, but yeah. So then we figure out what our plan is for distributing that content. What is it going to be like? What are we covering? And then we move into our presentation.
Is this a 5P thing? Is this a 5-piece? Are there 5 Ps?
It is a 5P.
Spoiler alert. There's 5 Ps. We're such marketing nerds.
There we go.
Sorry. Go back to your 4th P.
We move into presentation, figuring out the tech and all of that stuff. And then we move into practice, because sometimes we get it done once and we never pick it up again, or we go live once and one person watches and we don't do it again. But if you keep tapping back into that purpose, people, plan, presentation, and practice, it keeps you flowing and going.
I wonder what you may have heard or come across is the hardest of those five. Like when you're teaching people, you're working with them, what do you think is like the hardest one to tackle?
Most people come and they're like, I don't know how to set up this, the videos. And I'm like, well, what are you going to talk about? Who you're talking to? Who are you talking to? They don't know any of those things. All they think about is they want it to look pretty. And I'm like, but what are you going to say? So, that's why I put them through that entire formula.
Yeah. I feel like people ask the question, like the wrong questions,
Yeah.
right? They're like, I want to do this. And you're like, well, really what you need to figure out is another thing. Because if you look great, but you're saying some nonsense.
There you go.
That's not true to who you are.
Exactly.
Or how you can help people. What's the point? Yeah. I think that clarity at the beginning is important. That's the word that's thrown around a lot, but I think that's the point, right?
That's what I think.
I like that. Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there for sure. I'm curious. So as you're working through creating content and like doing it for yourself, and now you're helping other people with that, and you're getting a lot of like community that's coming out of this. I'm curious how you transition from that marketing work into like thought leadership. And I know we like to call ourselves that, but like where people are looking to you to say things and to speak on things and to have something that I say known, like something that you're starting to become known for. How did you transition from that just kind of creating into actually teaching?
I think it comes with being very self-aware, and knowing your purpose and what you're put here to do. And so for me, that transition really was solidified when you step into your journey, like this is what it is. And I can use what I've learned on my journey and understanding that we are still journeying, because that was huge for me as well. I'm always going to be a student. I'm always going to be learning, and just understanding that nothing I say or share in that phase of transitioning is wrong, because I'm a student, you're a student, and the people that we admire, the thought leaders that we look up to, they're still students too.
Exactly. No, I want to ask this because I think you might have a unique perspective on it.
Sure.
There's a lot of like chatter about personal branding right now. And I think it's huge, like that we all need to have something we're known for, that we have a reputation, that we work on ourselves and how we present ourselves and network and create a community and all that stuff. I'm curious how you think about personal branding. And, I think a lot of people focus on like, there's an aesthetic piece of that, but like in terms of how you develop your reputation and what people like think of you for or as, have you thought about that and how you've developed your own? Did it just start happening naturally? Like, I just want to make this look better and I want to talk about this, or have you put some thought into like where it goes or where it's going?
Yeah. I used to think it was all about the aesthetic, but now I look at it differently. I do look at it from, like I said before, being very self-aware and understanding what are my strengths and what am I not so great at, or even struggles. And I feel like a huge part of personal branding now is transparency, because like recently I saw someone who said she was encouraging everyone to start their own business and get into entrepreneurship and not work for anyone else. And then she realized that she was sharing that message for years, but it really came from her disdain for working for someone else, right?
Right.
So she wanted to reshare what people should really be thinking about or focusing on, right? If it works for you to work for someone else, that's okay. Because, there was a time where that everyone was shaming working for someone else. And that's just what some people want to do. And that's okay. Or they're doing it to fuel that business or, so I feel like your personal brand honestly is a journey. It's whatever you are going through and how you're reaching back and pulling people. So although people put us on a pedestal sometimes, that's like scary because it's like, hey, I'm just like you. We're just at different levels in the journey, right? Because there's still going to be someone that I'm going to have to look to, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's what
it does
you're
make
looking
sense.
for.
No, it's exactly. I don't have any expectations here, right? But like, I don't know what you're going to say. That's what makes it fun. We don't practice any of this. Were there any surprises along the way in doing that, in like starting to become like someone that has an audience and that talks about certain things and whatever else? Was there some surprises along the way?
Yeah, I have. Listen, I have had people show up to my apartment complex. I have had crazy things happen. But I think it's just getting used to realizing that people are really looking to you for just that push or that motivation. Or even sometimes when I take a break from being online, people will email me, they will message, they will reach out because they're looking for you. So just understanding that, oh my gosh, like I am really helping people move through somehow. And if I'm not there, they're looking for me. That was huge for me. I've had both ends of the spectrums.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like the responsibility starts to change. Like
Yes.
once you realize that they're not just
Oh, yeah.
people watching, that there's actually a bit of a community starting to
Yes.
gather, and they're talking to each other and they're talking to you.
Yeah.
Ideas are being shared.
Mhm.
And then there's a bit of responsibility that starts to come
Yeah.
with that in terms of how you engage with them, how you help them, how you serve them along
Yeah.
the
And
way.
that's where that pedestal came in. And that's where I had to let my people know, hey, well, that's where I was able to get more transparent and be like, listen, sometimes my message is for me, but y'all just resonate with it. And I am here for that. So I think that was really huge as well. And I feel like it creates a deeper sense of community when you're able to do that.
Yeah. I've had a few rants, I'm sure, that were just for me. That were they're just how I'm feeling in the moment.
Yes.
Sorry, not sorry.
Exactly. Exactly.
I would like to go back a little bit in time. You did a lot of, that you talked about how you started, and there was some beauty stuff along the way, and video helped you get there. I'm curious how that became such a passion for you, because it's hard to want to quit your day job and, to get into this route or to even expose yourself and to tell stories.
Yeah.
Usually there's some motivation that's you're running away from or you're running towards, whatever it might be. I'm just curious. I know video's great and but
Yeah.
what made it no, I kind of want to keep doing this because it's kind of a pain in the ass to create video. So you have to have motivation. You have to have a reason to keep doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah. You know what? I think for me, I realized that in person, just the type of person I am, I'm always encouraging and motivating. And that's just who I am. I'm very optimistic and I'm always thinking about, the blessing in the lesson and things like that. And so I realized that I had that around me. Like I would always be that person that would be helping someone or motivating someone, or even in my workplace, my old workplace years ago, people would be at my desk all the time. And, so I was like, I want to help more people. That kept me pushing. And so because I started off in a very niche space, I got that communication easily and very quickly, which is why I always tell people niche down. Don't be afraid to niche down. Figure out what your special sauce is and swim in it and help others swim in there with you. Right. But that's really what it was.
I'm not sure about the picture we're painting there. The special sauce, let's swim in our own special sauce.
Let's do
I'm picturing I'm picturing barbecue sauce. So
see, we're on the same wavelength.
I might leave that in.
Yeah.
But I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I want when people are doing that, when they start to figure out what it is that they like, oh, this is kind of my thing. This is the thing that I like to do or that I like talking about. I'm creating video and there's something going there. I think a lot of us start to hit that transition where you're like, now I might want to have something to say. I might want to put it into a format like a course. I might want to teach this to other people. I think it's a unique quality that entrepreneurs, creators, first you feel really alone. And then you feel like you're being hoisted up by the people that have come before you. You're like, why are they helping me?
Yeah.
And then it gets even weirder. You desperately want to help the people that are coming up behind you. And which I think is beautiful. And they don't see it, but it's there. Yeah. So you have this great format like course creation. And now you help people with that. That's something that you do as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
What made you get into that? How'd you start thinking you know what? I'm going to teach other people how to do this?
You know what? It really came from my content. My content was always so in-depth and well thought through, and people would take my courses and they would be like, oh my gosh. So that really happened randomly. I shared a video, it was powerful, on social media. And Thinkific found it. And they were like, oh my gosh, can you be one of our experts? How did you do this with our platform? And it really just grew from there. I feel like I'm a natural teacher as well. So I'm really able to take something and break it down into a process. So I do have a course agency where I work with, clients who are trying to put their brains into a course format. And I'm very good at it because I don't know, I just look at things in that way. And so because I know the platform so well, I can, mold things to fit into the format of a course, but just not any course. Like you want a course that your people are just excited to go through.
Yeah.
So
So if I want to create a course, I have create content, I put ideas out there.
mhm.
What are some of the things that I need to like figure out that make it work in a course format?
I like to say a lot of times I like to think about people returning. I like to think about community. And so a lot of times, like you'll search for something on YouTube and you'll find the answer, but you won't subscribe to that channel. Right. And
Yeah.
there are courses like that as well. Like it just helps you with one little thing. And then you're not really, looking to go back to that person for anything. I like to think about courses as the baseline of our business where we're able to serve more people, but then guide them up the ladder, whether it be with a membership, a mastermind, one-to-one clients, just thinking about it in that way where you're able to scale. And so you got to put yourself in there. It's coming back to personal branding again. Like, what makes your course completely different? Like there are thousands of social media courses online. What's different about yours? Or what,
Yeah.
who is it for? Who are you specifically creating for? What's your ideal student like? What are they struggling with? And not only that regular struggle, like, okay, you can't get likes, fine. But what about that? If I could get more likes, I can sell more of my products and I can take care of my family better. What about those things?
Yeah. So it's like you're mapping out the journey for them, right? It's like
Yes.
you know that this is the question they're asking now. You'll start them there.
Exactly.
You might even have to back them up 2 steps like you did with some of
Yes.
the clarity stuff,
Yes.
but you also know what they're going to start asking next because you've heard the
Exactly.
question or you've had the problem.
Yes.
You're like, before you ask, by the way, I know the next thing you're going to want to figure out is this.
Yes.
Before you ask, it's there, but by the way,
Yeah.
it goes in order for a reason. There's things you need to know first.
Exactly.
So you can kind of take them on that journey
Yeah.
along the way. I get that. That makes sense. I think it's nice to know like that someone else has mapped it for you, because I think the number one thing people
Exactly.
say is, I just don't know what I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And courses give you that format to do
They
that where you,
do.
well, I do know what you don't know because I've
Yeah.
done it, and here you go. And you can skip along if you don't, if there's things you're like, oh, I kind of know that thing, whatever it is. The Thinkific platform that's the one you use mainly. Have you used some of the other ones too?
I used to build from scratch years ago. So I've gone through WordPress, LMS, like I've gone through it all. I've gone through lots of different other course platforms as well. And I really wanted something that I can bend to do what I want it to do, make it look like mine. I don't want it to look like, I'm using somebody else's platform because it's an extension of my brand and my business. So I was looking for that. I was looking for a great student experience as well. And I feel like, Thinkific was able to cover that. I was also looking for different content type ways that I can share content differently for people that may ingest content differently. Like it just hit the nail on the head in so many ways for me. So yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to like look into the matrix here for a second, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you build this, someone like they figure out their content, they build a course,
Mhm.
and what's going to happen is it's going to be like, no one found it. Like
Mhm.
crickets,
Yeah.
I don't want to know what you teach. I want to know how you specifically for your stuff,
Uh-huh.
how you generate discovery. How do people find you? Like first, like, yeah, like they find me on like my online audience, or like
Yeah.
people I speak at a conference, and then
Yeah.
like, how have you slowly kind of built that? And how do you generate discovery, like for new people coming into your world?
Right. The craziest thing is all over my Instagram, you'll find people saying, I found you on YouTube. Yes. So video.
Yep.
Video in that way is super powerful. Like, it helps people to find you and filter down into, or I want to say up into whatever you're doing. Right. So that is one of my main drivers for one-to-one clients and for courses as well. And also speaking or going to conferences is huge as well. Online summits, all of the things. And I feel like it's so important to have the brain of your operation that you're able to send someone to, so that you're able to then reap the benefits from it.
Yeah, I worry because you create a video, or I think we should be creating video.
Yeah.
But like the time it takes sometimes to have done enough that people start to find you. sometimes. Like when I talked to Mike Alton about blogging, he was like, oh, by the way, the algorithm for Google or something like you have to write 50 articles before it starts to recognize that that's what you do, that's what you're known for,
True.
whatever it is. And I'm not saying that's true for YouTube, but I'm just saying there's definitely some work to be done to have something that's high quality enough that will be found, but B, that like it starts to pick up traction over time, and some might pay off quickly and some might not. But I think that's what you have to commit to mindset wise to some of this
definitely
stuff.
I would say that you definitely do, and that's why I have plan inside of those 4 P's, because you've got to have a plan for it. You have to be thinking about, what is my cornerstone content? So what's the content that people are going to need to keep stepping on? And even how you nurture that audience is huge too. So that consistency is a huge thing. And so for that, I batch. So, I have my days where I'm all dressed up and I'm in front of the camera all day. I get like 4 to 5 videos done, but I'm good for a month. So let's say I do that 2 times for the month, then I'm always ahead.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time. Absolutely. I think it's important. Most people are like, well, I don't have time for any of this stuff. I'm trying to run a business here or whatever it is. And it's true. Like you have to find the right processes, or you'll never stick to it. It'll never work out for you.
Exactly. But I think I love video so much that I think, like, when you asked that before, that could have been an answer. I just genuinely love it. So I am able to stick to it. Like, it's always going to be my go-to. So I can always come back to that. And because I love it so much, I was able to test and try and stick with it, and then find out, like, how could this be easier for someone else? Or what are the different levels? Like, we start with the webcam. Okay, cool. But then how do we upgrade? And so I've been through all of that. So I know how to share with people how they can too.
Yeah, I think you have to love it a little bit, and you also have to just be happy with, like, this is going to take time. Like there's some things will be fast, some things will be slow. It's a mindset thing.
Exactly.
It's understanding why you're doing it's important, which is why it all goes back to the beginning of it all. Like, what's your threshold here for success? What's your goal? Because if your goal is to run one video and then think you're going to suddenly have 1 million fans and start selling,
which
widgets,
is what most people think.
I
want to go viral. I'm like, I'm not your girl.
Yeah, I hear the same thing. I think a lot of people think that also you can just start getting paid for advertisements, right off the bat. And it's like, man, that's like the top X%. I mean, maybe affiliates, but even that. I think there's a lot of myths out there.
So many.
Outside looking in. But if they take one of these courses, they're going to figure that out.
There you go.
As we're coming towards the end here, I do want to ask a little bit about kind of like up next, like the vision board, like big audacious goals coming for you. Obviously, you're going to re-release some courses. Yeah. But what's the plan? What's the future look like for you?
Definitely more stages in 2020. So speaking, that is one of my biggest fears, but I've been doing it a bit for this year. So 2020, I want to take it to the next level. And I love the online space. I've been in it for so long. So for me, I'm an introvert. So I'm challenging myself to get out there and do more stages for 2020, get uncomfortable so that I can get comfortable, or,
Yeah. Do you find people are shocked when you say you're an introvert?
All the time. They're like, no, I am the introvert of introverts. Like today I'm going to teach a class right after this. I had an interview before. I did client calls earlier. When I'm done, you're not going to see me for like 2 days.
I'll let you in like a little bit. What's funny is I just 2 days ago, I was having a conversation. I was like, you know what? I think I had a realization that I've been calling myself an introvert my entire life. And I think I'm not. I don't think I am. I don't think I'm an introvert anymore. I think I've lost that. I think it's gone.
I know someone that happened to her. She was an extrovert, and then she just suddenly turned into an introvert. So maybe it's the same thing that happened to you.
Yeah. Did she also stop drinking and find Jesus? I mean, sometimes that's connected.
Oh I'm just my gosh, Brandon.
I might have hit on those. Sometimes connected.
Wow.
See, whereas I am drinking more than ever, so that might just be connected as well. No, but I
can't.
No, I think it was this. I think it's that when I'm in a room where I know zero people, absolutely zero, it's obviously uncomfortable, as it would be for a lot of people. And I'm like, I think I was in so many of those situations that I was just like, yeah, I'm like, this is uncomfortable. I hate being around people.
Yeah.
Like, this is terrible. I don't want to go to a networking conference where I know nobody. But reason I changed my mind this weekend is I knew a few people, like, a handful.
That
like,
always helps.
But I was like, I would talk to them as a home base and I would leave. And then I would
prime.
come back and leave and come back. And I was a butterfly talking to everybody. And I was like, maybe I'm not an introvert. Maybe I just hate when I know nobody.
Now you have me rethinking some things, because the way that we're always trying to find out, that like, what's the next conference or what is who doing? And so you're right. I feel like I am getting more comfortable because, we get there. Oh, and, this one is here and that one is here. So it's like, it's exciting, especially if they're extroverts and they're talking to everyone. You end up talking to everyone.
Yeah.
So it works. Like,
and I could tell, because since I'm jumping around talking to a lot of people now, the people I talk to, some of them I'm like, oh, you're definitely an introvert.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actively talking to you right now and I could tell you're an introvert, or I'm a terrible conversationalist, one way or the other.
No, I think it's the first one. I think it's option number one.
Yeah. Well, sorry, audience. I had to go on my rant today because I just got back from this amazing conference in Vegas, and that's what was on my mind.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks for letting me take you there with me. I think that obviously that shouldn't be a problem for you to get on more stages. I'm sure I'll be in the audience cheering you on.
Or right next to me. We don't know.
Exactly. And hit up her website, XayLiBarclay.com. You can always check that out to see where she's at. Where else can they find you? How do we follow you? Where are you active?
I am very active on Instagram. So I'm at XayLi Barclay on Instagram and on YouTube and my website. Yeah. But those are the three places that I'm like, really active.
Yeah. Check out her videos. Obviously, they're going to look amazing. You're going to get valuable content from them. And if you're into the course creation or you want to get better at using video, check her out.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show. It's been my honor to host, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
All right. Catch y'all next time.
You've just taken your marketing knowledge to another level with this episode of Brands on Brands on Brands. But we have plenty more ways to not just help you build a business, but build a brand. Head over to brandandbrands.com for more resources, as well as access to our blogs, videos, and exclusive coaching sessions with your host. Be sure to visit brandandbrands.com.